Hey everyone, Cindy here, and I'm going to be starting a series on headstands. And I know for some of you, you're thinking, oh, this is not for me, it's way too advanced, I'll never be able to do that. But in reality, there are some very, very easy ways that you can start learning and practicing how to get into headstands. And in fact, I am going to be using today, as part of this series, a tool that makes it very, very easy for almost anyone to get into a headstand. And when I mean that, I mean basically bringing your hips up over your head. So before we go into headstands, though, I wanted to give you a few benefits. Headstands are actually considered the king of all asanas. And some of the benefits include blood flow to the head. It stimulates your pituitary gland. And of course, because you're using this type of tool, it's really good because you're not going to have that compression on your head that you would otherwise having if you did a regular headstand without the tool. It also is really good for strengthening your lower back and your core muscles. It's very good for your immune system. It's also very good for healthy eyes, especially over the age of 40, because it's bringing so much blood into the head area that includes your eyes. So it's very good for healthy eyes. And of course, there's a few other things that you can do with this tool, and one of them I'm actually going to show you today is a really, really super easy to go into either what is called a tripod or basically a modification of crane pose. So let me show you a couple of ways that you can use this. Today, I'm only going to show you some very, very basic things that you can do with this tool to get yourself up into a headstand. So one way to do this is actually to have the tool away from the wall. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring, first of all, your body next to the wall. I have my feet up against the wall right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this so that my hips are in alignment with the opening here of the bench. And the reason why is because what I'm going to be doing is bringing my legs up here on the wall for support. And again, this is a very, very basic way of going into a headstand and getting yourself prepared for moving the feet up. Right now, I'm not going to be doing that in today's part of this series. Today is just getting the feeling of what it feels like with your hips above the head. So to do this, you'll come into the bench and you'll simply start walking the feet up so that your body is at an L shape. And you'll hold this for about 30 seconds. And this is the first phase of learning how to go into that headstand. Now, a couple of things when you go into a headstand is this. Number one, there's some contradictions. If you have glaucoma, if you're a woman and you're having your period right now, if you have high blood pressure, or if you have a detached retina, right now headstands are not for you. With that being said, the other thing to keep in mind when you go into this, if you're feeling a lot of pressure around and especially behind the eyes, you want to come out of it. And the reason why is there can be a lot of pressure underneath that eye, and your eyes are not strong enough right now, especially with the retina, and you can actually detach the retina by going into a headstand. So if you're feeling any pressure, and I'm not talking about sinus pressure, I'm talking about pressure that's coming from the eyes. If you feel any of that when you're in your headstand, come out of it immediately and then wait for about 2 minutes. Go back in. And I will tell you, when I first started doing this, and I'm 55 years old, I've never practiced headstands before I got this tool. So for me, when I got up into my position that I was just in, after about 5 seconds, I started feeling a lot of pressure behind my eyes. And so I would get out of it. I'd wait 2 minutes, wait for the energy to balance out. I'd go back up in it. And it would only take about 5 minutes, and I'd start feeling that pressure again, so I'd come back out of it. I would do that 3 times, waiting about 2 minutes in between to just balance that energy and balance, make sure the blood is flowing again. And I started doing that, and actually after only a couple of days, I wasn't feeling near the pressure for about 10 seconds. So I increased it by double the amount. I know it was only 10 seconds, but the thing is I started doing it then for 10 seconds, and I did it 3 times in a row, waiting 2 minutes between each headstand. And then after a couple more days, I could go up to about 20 seconds. And so what you're doing is you're building the muscles around the eyes. It's very, very helpful for the eyes. And so now I'm up to about 2 minutes that I can stand it before I start feeling some pressure under the eye, or behind the eye. So with that being said, make sure that if you're feeling any pressure when you go into headstands, that you come out of it. The other thing is as you're practicing this, make sure that you're using your core muscles. So you're engaging the core muscles when you do this. And what I mean by that, there's actually 2 ways to engage the core muscles. The fundamental way that everyone should start with, especially if you haven't done much core work, is what you want to do is tighten up the abdomen area as if somebody was going to hit you in the gut. If you did that, you would want to prepare yourself by tightening all of the muscles around the core so that you could absorb the shock of that punch. So start there. Start with that engagement by tightening up, and do that every time you come into your headstand, especially when you get started just like I did with that L shape. The other thing is once you have the control and also you can feel the abdominal muscles, then you can move on to a different way to engage the core muscles. And by an advanced way, what I'm saying is I call it zipping up. And so what you'll do is you'll actually not only bring the belly back towards the spine, but you'll bring it back and up towards the sternum. This is a more advanced level of engaging the core muscles. It stimulates the internal organs. It also stimulates the vagus nerve that goes up into the heart. You won't be able to do it if you don't have control of your abdomen muscles and you can't feel them. One way to test that is if you're talking, you should be able to move the belly button in and back out. So if you can't do that while you're talking, then you have not gotten control of those ab muscles. So first of all, just tighten up the ab muscles when you're in your headstand. And then from there, once you start getting the feeling for the ab muscles, you're strengthening those, you'll start feeling the ab muscles and being able to control it. So I showed you one, which I'm going to show you again. You bring your head into that bench and then walk the feet up. You're only coming to the point where you're at an L shape. And you'll just hold this for, maybe a minute or 2. You're engaging the core muscles. You're breathing. You're relaxing the head and neck. And then eventually come down. So you're training the body and you're training the muscles to go into a headstand. Now there's one other way I said I would also show you. A lot of times when you see people go into a headstand, they do it from crow or do it from what is called tripod. And the cool part about this tool is that you can get into a tripod or that modified crane very, very easily. And if you're afraid that you're going to be not very sturdy, you can actually bring the bench the other way towards the wall. So to do this, again, you're going to bring your head in the bench area here, but you're going to go up into crow. I don't need it next to the wall, so I'll just show you this way so that you can see it from the side. You'll have your hands here as you go in, and it's actually really super easy to just bring your feet up. And for me, this feels just absolutely wonderful. And I could stay here for actually quite some time. And again, this is the first part of then eventually going up into a headstand. You're engaging the core muscles here. And then you can come down. So that's the first part of my series. If you're interested in one of these, you can buy them on Amazon and a few other places. And I'll give you a link in the blog here so that you can maybe check that out. I'm Cindy Bartz, and I have an online studio and a private studio here in Clearwater, Florida, where I teach private as well as group lessons in yoga, Qigong, and meditation. For more information, visit my website at cindybartz.com. Thank you.